external funding assistance. Yeah. I am also privileged in welcoming my fellow and respected head of the various departments, Mr. Prabhu Krishna sir, Mr. Gaurav sir, Mr. Ashok Kumar sir, Dr. Shyamala ma'am, and Mr. Talapati sir, and other various institutions. Welcome to the stage. I welcome our dear and sincere my fellow faculty members, both teaching and non-teaching admin staff, who are all being so supportive in arranging this grand event in our SMKF campus. Last but not the least, I welcome our LPV event guest speakers from various disciplines in our institution who have preferred to deliver lectures on various topics to enlighten us in effective and recent trends in teaching and learning practices. This 4-day faculty development program on assimilating modern trends in teaching methodology is aimed, and the speakers are dedicated to helping us to attain knowledge and skills in practicing effective teaching and learning methodologies. This event is being planned for 4 days to cover teaching and learning practice for 2 days with 4 sessions, and technical enlightening for 1 day with 2 sessions, and 1 day hands-on practice on computer applications and online marketing, followed by an outing discussion. So we look forward to getting to know you all a bit better in coming semesters and years, and to hear our ideas about the LTV can be helpful to us in our efforts. I pray the Almighty to make this event a grand success. Once again, I welcome you all and good luck. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. I will request HOD Sudhir to felicitate Principal Ma'am. I request our HOD to felicitate Honorary Professor Dr. C. Wilson. I will request the Principal Ma'am to address the gathering.
Good morning. Good morning. You know the energy. The teachers have to transform or transfer the energy to the students. Good morning.
Good morning.
So, welcome you all to the faculty development program at SMK Formula Institute of Technology. This has been done every year in our institution, and first we started with 1 day AFDP actually. We started with minimal teaching programs and all. But with a lot of inputs from our own faculty and the interest shown by our own faculty, it has been extended next to 2 days and 3 days, and now we are in 4-day program. And it's really healthy because our own people are going to be the guest speakers. I feel proud that we have not invited anyone from outside, as I feel our people are no less than anyone. So that is the pride of SMK Formula. The strength is staff and the dedication of the staff, simplicity of the staff, especially down here. Attitude of the staff is the main strength of SMK Formula. And with that, today we are starting this faculty development program. First of all, I would like to congratulate the Civil Engineering Department for coming forward to organize this faculty development program. And I would like to congratulate the guest speakers who have come voluntarily, and some of them whom we have identified feeling they will be suitable for doing certain presentations because they may be an expert in that area. So that is again a privilege for the faculty who have been identified that they are very good in those areas. So congratulations for all the guest speakers who have come forward, putting in a lot of efforts in preparing their presentations to exhibit and share their knowledge to the colleagues. And welcome to the freshers, the new staff who have joined recently. And very happy to have you all here. And I request all the department heads to interact with the new faculty to know the new practices which they can share with us. Because we cannot think what we are doing is perfect. We would have seen a lot of things outside there which may help us to improve, add on value to our teaching practice. So welcome you all to this LTP. We start this academic year with this faculty development program. We have certain unique features in SMQ program which you might not have seen in other institutions. Like one is, we are all equal. We never feel, as I am the head of the institution, somebody is the head of the department, and somebody is, to the students also, we don't feel we boss around them or we command them or we instruct them. So that is not there in SMQ program. First thing is we are all equal. And we give value to human feelings and we do value their expectations and we do counsel them, we do interact with them. This is the main practice of SMQ program which makes us feel at home. We all feel at home. We never feel that we are going somewhere, when this job will get over, when we will go home. So that feeling will not be there. Like you get ultimate job satisfaction among your own colleagues, and the present situation is like every one of us interact every now and then. Like there is no big gap that you cannot meet certain people in certain times. Whenever you are in need, we are available. So this is what is the scenario of SMQ program which keeps us more energetic, and the gaps are almost filled, and there is nil gap between the faculty and the head of the institution or the HODs or among students. So this interactive method of working makes us feel, understand the difficulties of each and every one so that we can we don't have to delay anything. Like, we don't want to leave anybody feel like, yes, I have some difficulty here, there is no one to hear my difficulty, no one to answer my difficulty. So this is the environment where we are living now, and we also welcome you all to come up with some more feedbacks and suggestions on what you expect more than this, or what are all the flaws in the existing system. So I am a person who first asks for the negative points or the flaws, because this is the main thing which will help us to grow. Because once you start eradicating all the mistakes, automatically you become perfect. So this is what is my attitude. So you are open to your feedback. Please come on with the feedbacks. We have a 4-day session, and we will be taking the feedback from the staff after every session, immediately after every session. And I don't want you people to generalize the feedback, saying it is good, it is bad, you could have been like this. But please specify what are all the points in that particular session help you to grow, or you learn. Or you could also give suggestion like, I expect in this session you could have included certain things, whatever you feel. Because this will help us to do better in our next MD. So this is how we have been doing. So I want wholehearted feedback from each and everyone. The same thing I want the teachers to get it from the students also when you take a class. Unless or otherwise you know whether what you are doing is right and it is reaching to the destination where it has to reach, whatever you are doing will not be 100% received. So this feedback theory has to be the first and foremost priority in everybody's mind. Never think somebody will tell negative about you. The negatives only will make you positive. So this is a mantra which I follow in my life. I never regret if anybody tell me like this is not good, you could have done like this, you could have done like that. Because that is the one, when I am open to all those feedbacks and comments, I correct myself and I polish myself better. So this is what is the thing, and we have 4-day session as we initially planned for 2 days for this semester also. First 2 days we thought we will discuss about the teaching learning process, like how a teacher, because you know like when you compare your era and where we studied, the teachers will not take this much of interest or this much of time they spend with the student, giving a lot of additional inputs. The job of a teacher or a lecturer or a professor in universities will be just come and deliver the lecture and go back. It is the student's responsibility to go to the library, refer to several books, take notes on our own. If you have doubt, get an appointment with the professor, go to them and discuss with them. This is how the university where I have studied, I have seen. Even the job opportunities and the training what we give or the counseling what we give, these are all not there in those days. I feel like we were all self-made. Like on our own we have to motivate ourselves. On our own, we have to go and search the reference books and the textbooks and sit with 10 books and make our own notes. But that was actually very healthy compared to what we are doing now, because now it's somewhat like a spoon feeding only. We give everything to the student and the student does not know the value of it. The main problem is they don't know the value what we are doing. They will know the value if they get it on their own. If they struggle for it, the students will know like, oh, this much difficulty is there in getting this thing. So they will know the value of that. But anyway, like it is our responsibility to provide them with all the resources and also make them understand that it is essential what we are doing is going to help them in their future. So this is an additional thing what we have to do. So there are several roles which we have to play. Actually, when you start at home, like 24 hours, we will be having something or the other in our mind related to the students and the college and the examination or admission or the results or whatever it is. Something or the other will be roaming in your mind. That is what is today's, 21st century teachers' life is about. So this is going to help the student community by planning. Like we need to plan for each and every student. Now the situation is it is not like we look for one class. We need to categorize the students and we have to work for every student individually. We need to think of their strengths and weakness and we need to convert the weakness to strength. So this is what is an additional responsibility other than delivering the lecture in the class. So here the responsibility of making the student understand, making the student know the value of education first of all and application-oriented teaching and making them get interest in studies and education and giving them an updated knowledge. So this is where the teachers will have a lot of challenges because we need to update ourselves first before we go and stand in front of the students. Suppose if we feel the teacher's job is to just finish the syllabus, whatever the contents, the titles are given in the syllabus, it is enough if we explain them, give them notes, that is the end of our job. But that they themselves can do. They can do much better than us. Give them a seminar, they will Google around and bring a lot of resources and they will present it in much better way than what we do. So that is not the only thing what the students expect and that is not the only thing what our country also expects. Because the challenges are too high and the job opportunities are highly challenging. People mistake there is a recession. People say there is a recession. They don't understand what is the meaning of it. There is no company which is closed. The companies are still there. Why the students are not getting jobs is they are not equipping themselves up to the expectation of the industry. How the student is going to be different from the other student. Suppose you have so many Anna University affiliated colleges, you have the similar syllabus, you have the similar certificate. You go with first class, thousands of students go for an interview with first class. The HR may feel you have an eligibility criteria for which you have crossed the eligibility criteria, you are now sitting in front of me. I have already interviewed 100 people. The same syllabus, everybody says that I know the syllabus. How you are going to be different from the other person? How I can recruit you? Why do you think you should be recruited? How you are unique from others? So this is how the colleges also stand unique from the other college. What an institution does, everybody will be advertising like we have the best infrastructure, we have highly qualified staff and we have playground, we have training facilities, everything will be a job opportunities, everything I find. You can get a student a job, that is not difficult nowadays. Somewhere definitely a student can be placed. But survival, can that student survive in that job forever or can he grow from there? So that depends upon the knowledge what we teachers impart to the students. If that is going to be only the book knowledge what you are going to give to the student, that is not sufficient. You need to think out of box and you need to go beyond syllabus. You need to go beyond theory. You need to go into practical teaching and you need to know how to apply the concept whatever you are teaching. First of all, we should know if this is the concept I am teaching to the student, how am I going to apply this? How am I going to teach the student how it can be applied in real life? There will be many mathematical teachers who will be taking the class, 4-year series and so many theorems will be teaching. And the student may be thinking like, oh, this maths is over in the first year, why do I have to remember this further? So when the maths teacher is introducing that subject in the first year, if the teacher is able to tell you the applications of those concepts which are being taught, then the learning focus will be different for the student. He will not think, if I just pass in this semester in this maths exam, that is enough for me. But this is going to be useful for me for the next 3 years also for my other core subjects. If he thinks in that way, the learning focus will be different for the student. So every faculty, first of all, should understand why this is there in the syllabus of this particular branch. Why this subject has been introduced in this branch. There will be a lot of interdisciplinary subjects like, for a mechanical subject, they may have to study electronics. But they may think, why do I have to study electronics? And they may have to study MBA related subjects, like computer related subjects. He may say, like, if I know thermodynamics, it's enough for me, that is my core. But is that the job? If you go to an industry, is that the only thing the student have to know to complete or to satisfy the industry requirements? So that, first of all, we need to have an awareness of if this mechanical engineer is going to be placed. What are all the different job opportunities this person will be having and what sort of job profile they will be getting? And in that environment, what are all the basic, what are all the basic tools or the basic knowledge or the basic concepts which he needs to know to survive it. So without a computer knowledge, nobody can survive anywhere. Like you need to have a computer knowledge for many things. Suppose if you are going for a mechanical or civil also, you need to know the CAD drawing and the design in the computer. So there you cannot say like, why do I have to learn a computer language? So that is one thing. Then again, everything is interrelated. Electronics is there, so electronics knowledge is very essential for the mechanical students. A lot of nano related devices are coming even in mechanical. So again, if you take civil, they need to have a lot of sophisticated equipments with which they do the surveying or any measurements or any design or anything. For which again they are dependent on computerized activities or some electronic devices how to operate. And again coming to biomedical, they are the people who are the main heart in any hospital, like for developing any equipment. The biomedical engineer who has the knowledge of both biology as well as the electronics is must. So this is one thing where the interdisciplinary knowledge is must, where the faculty, when they are teaching, should also make the students understand that don't think the subject is introduced in your syllabus just for passing in this semester alone. It is not like that. Don't give equal weightage for every subject, whatever is being taught. So that other subject or other course subject, other department subject will be received by any student in a different way. They feel that this is not essential for us. So this is again the teacher's duty to make them understand why we have this in the curriculum and why we are teaching, where we are going to apply. So application point of view, the teacher should get updated first. Every teacher has to update themselves each and every day. That is why I insist on a lot of publications, paper publications. When you do paper publication, definitely you start browsing on what is being done, what is the work done so far in that particular area. So there you will get a lot of updations in your area. So that when you share it with your students, like they will get a lot of respect towards the teacher. So teacher job is not a job where you can just happily come and go. People generally think like you will get summer vacation, you will be happy, you come back at 4 o'clock. And your job is very simple. The same thing, whatever you are teaching, every day you are telling the same thing. Every year you will be teaching the same subject. What is the big deal in being a teacher? This is what people look at us. But it is more than any other job because every profession is being made by a teacher only. Every profession, everybody is being brought up by a teacher, either from kindergarten or schooling or college or everywhere. A teacher role is not just to impart only the subject what is given in the syllabus, but beyond that, the life skill is being taught by the teacher. The personality development is being taught by the teacher. The mental balance, the self-confidence, self-motivation, human relations, whatnot. Everything they pick up from us. First of all, we need to be perfect before going and standing in front of the students. Right from your dress code, the way, your punctuality, the preparation for the class and the homework, whatever you do, and perfect in giving answers to the students and encouraging the students to ask you questions, doubts, interacting with the students, go to the distance where the students can approach you and not to the distance where they consider you as a friend. So that distance making or the distance maintaining and all, the teacher has to know and also make the student understand this is where you stand, this is where you stand. So if a teacher is able to mark that, then you will always get the respect from the teacher of the students instead of a fear. So there is a lot of difference between the students fearing for a teacher and respecting a teacher. We don't want any fear. We are not here to threaten them, or we are not here to punish them or physically harass them or mentally harass them. Or we are no one to do that. We are here to impart education. It is not technical alone. There are so many other things which we need to impart. So when we start imparting, first we should equip ourselves. First we should know what are the latest trends, what is the new principles that is being used in day-to-day life in other colleges or in other places where they are successful. So how we can implement this here to make our teaching much more easier and much more effective, that it reaches whatever we need to communicate, it reaches the student and finally he is good in his life. So this is what is the ultimate aim of a teacher, should be the aim of a teacher. And teachers should be always available in all forms. They want you, they are depressed, if they want you as a mother, you have to be like a mother. If they want you like a strict teacher where you discipline them, you have to be a strict teacher. They want a knowledge-based person, you need to be a knowledge-based person. You need to be a source. You may not know everything, but if a student asks you a doubt, then take time, go and do a research and come back with the answer. Don't run away from the students like the students may ask doubts and put them down and make them sit down in the class and threatening them that if you stand up and ask the questions in the class, then I will be reducing your marks. So these things are not required. If the student has a doubt, then it is an opportunity for us also to clarify the doubt. We will get an opportunity to go back to the textbooks or the Google and find out what is the answer for that. And we are increasing our knowledge level. So this is, we are also students. I cannot say that we know everything and we are teachers, so we don't have to learn anything. Any age, whatever age you are, everybody is a student in something or the other. It may not be in one particular area. Every day, every second, we see something and we learn something. So let us all get started with today's FTP. We have so many good, interesting sessions, and this is not just 1 day or 2 days or 3 days or 4 days, whatever we have planned. Each and everything is being specifically discussed and we have put in here. So I want everybody to listen to the FTP, interact with the speakers, give your feedback and implement this. Please do implement it in your teaching learning process, and if you have some suggestions after the completion of any session, come forward and tell it in front of everybody so that everybody will get benefit. If you feel this particular concept, whatever we are discussing, is not sufficient or it is not the right way, you may definitely come and tell, sir, we can add this many techniques where we can make it much more successful. So everybody is open to the session now, and I wish all success and I wish God blesses that you all these 4 days we make a successful faculty development program, because first 2 days, as I said, it is a teaching learning process, the process of teaching and learning. But the 3rd day we have a technical activity where in each department we have 2 sessions where we will have a technical, we do have a technical discussion. Don't confuse with the technical discussion what we have with this, because in the technical discussion we discuss that semester subjects, and also we discuss on the methodology of teaching. If you have some tough concepts and if you are a fresher, and when studying itself, if you have felt that is very difficult for me to understand, then we will not be able to teach. Every teacher should remember that your body language speaks more than what you speak. That the student will be observing you, and every time whenever you deliver a lecture, they will be able to understand whether you are confident in delivering that particular concept or you are rushing to complete that particular topic. I have an experience like certain topics I would not have understood better. So I will be thinking like, when this topic will get over, I will be free from my lecture. So that moment, like I understood, like why I should get fear for that particular topic. Why don't I understand and then deliver it in a better way where the students will also feel comfortable. So this is the body language. When we do it, automatically a non-verbal communication will be communicated to the student. They will definitely understand you are nervous and you don't want this topic to be explained in an elaborate way. You don't want any questions in that particular topic. You want to just complete it as early as possible and go to the next topic. So this will be relieved by our own body language. So let us clear all your doubts. That is the reason we have the technical discussion all through before starting the semester. And we do have analogy-based teaching, which is unique in our college. So this is mainly to make the students understand the concept before they complete their engineering. You know, right from the first year, whatever they study, they need to understand. It is not by hearting. Answering 8 questions in the university exam and getting 80 marks and 90 marks is not going to speak about his knowledge. So he has to understand why we are studying, what is this concept, where it can be applied, where it is applied now, what is the real-time correlation between this concept, this application. So if you teach in that way, you know, it will start developing a lot of interest in that particular subject. So this analogy-based teaching is one unique thing we have. And these are all, the analogies are not purchased from any vendor. This has been created by our own teachers. So I should give a big round of applause for our own teachers who have developed the analogy for each and every concept. This is something unique actually. You cannot get it from any other place. So this presentation is there, and we have several other interactive sessions and methodologies where we make the students get involved in the subject. So we are all doing well, but still, why don't we enhance some more? There is something like a charging the battery. We may get some more tips where we can do much more better in our coming academic year. So the ultimate goal of an SMK Phomra Institute of Technology is to give quality education to the student, and we need to create good citizens for the country with all the good thoughts and good social responsibility. So everything is packaged in SMK Phomra in the academic year. And we also focus more as a short-term goal, you know, like we wanted to focus on 100% result, 100% placement and 100% admission. And as a long-term goal, it should be an international standard institution where we do require a lot of international students coming here for their curriculum. So this should go through the students whom we produce. The students have to go and make the universe understand that this type of concept-based education is being imparted in SMK Phomra Institute of Technology. Instead of putting a banner anywhere, you know, like mouth-to-mouth publicity, by seeing our students, people should understand about the quality of teachers, what we have, and the quality education, what we do. So may God bless you all, and let us have a wonderful 4-day MDT session. Thank you so much.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you for all your valuable advice and suggestions. I now request Professor Dr. C. Elderson to address the gathering.